It seems some people out there have learned absolutely nothing from the Covington kids' injustice. Viva Frei, former Montreal litigator turned current Florida rumbler, half naked because I shaved my beard and I feel ugly, old, and tired, but I'll get over it, it'll grow back if I'm lucky. The story of the day, coming out of University of Mississippi, Ole Miss, a new video which is going to give the Covington kids potentially a run for its money. If you haven't seen the video, I'll play the video now and then I'm going to commentate on the video after you watch it now.
What's that?
So that is the video, or at least one of the videos, because there are other angles. There are other videos of this incident that might shed some light on this incident, but it was tweeted out by, I'm not sure who, let me just double check. It was tweeted out by Rep Mike Collins, at Rep Mike Collins, who says, Ole Miss taking care of business. Representative Mike Collins tweets out the video, taking pride in what seems to be, at first glance, some university students pushing back at some arguably anti-American protesters, or at the very least, protesters who are protesting what they believe to be the genocide in Gaza. But without getting into those details, you see some young American boys dressed in American flag overalls, seemingly counter-protesting the protesters, and Rep Mike Collins says, Ole Miss taking care of business. To which an individual named Fred Wellman replies as follows, but before we even get into his reply, we need to go check out the profile in order to explain the reply. Fred Wellman, at FP Wellman, democracy advocate, Army combat veteran, host of On Democracy Pod on Midas Touch and Substack, national chairman, Forgotten Democrats, didn't pay Elmo. The Midas Touch, wellichy. If that rings a bell, it's because you might remember a Twitter account by the handle of ACYN, I still don't know how to pronounce it, who also seems to be affiliated with the Midas Touch, who single-handedly spearheaded that Trump bloodbath comment disinformation campaign, the one that went super viral that, as far as I know, to this day, never got community noted on Twitter.
And you're not going to be able to sell those guys. If I get elected, now if I don't get elected, it's going to be a bloodbath for the whole, that's going to be the least of it. It's going to be a bloodbath for the country. That'll be the least of it. But they're not going to sell those cars. They're building massive factories. A friend of mine...
That Fred Wellman, may be taking a page out of ACYN's tactics on Twitter, tweets as follows in response to Representative Mike Collins. Fred Wellman, at FP Wellman. Which part is your favorite, Mike? Is it the white kid acting like a monkey at the black woman, or the white security guard acting like she's a threat? I'm trying to figure out which flavor of racism has you all excited the most. And with that, although I don't think it's immediately and exclusively attributable to Fred Wellman, but with that starts a campaign to depict this incident as a racist incident, Covington Catholic 2.0. And the question is this a racist incident going on in this video? Now, I have broken down this video. I have watched it more times than I care to admit, and I'm watching this and I can understand that someone looks at this kid and might think that he's doing something of an animal gesture, and they might make some connections there, although there are a great many people on the internet who say that if you make an animal connection to racism, you're the racist. But set that aside, if you watch this video carefully and you listen to the audio, what you actually hear is not only that kid doing a hoo, 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 which might be more of a frat boy sports type chant, you hear the crowd doing it as well, and it's not obvious. All I'm saying is it's not obvious that it was obviously intended to be racist or racial at all. But alas, the rumor itself of racism is like tearing open a pillow and watching the feathers spread all across the world. There's no coming back from that. And as we know all too well, the power lies in the accusation. There has been an accusation of racism. This kid has been doxxed. His name is out there. And ironically enough, the modern day lynch mob wants his head. A tweet from Jeff Pearlman, at Jeff Pearlman. New York Times best-selling author of 10 books, 2-pack coming, quote, the kid who shows up at the bus and just starts kicking motherfuckers, end quote. And with a bio like that, you just know you're gonna get a gem of a tweet. So this Ole Miss kid has been identified. I'm not going to name him, but it's spreading. And right now on Twitter, he's spewing bravado and, quote, fuck all y'all, end quote, machismo. And we've seen this movie before. It won't last because ultimately this shit follows a person everywhere. 7.2 million views. And the follow-ups, it's fun and games for a day. Then you realize you're going to need a job one day, and potential employers Google future hires. And they're going to see old Biff was making monkey noises at a black woman. And while your frat bros have your back now, college will end. Part 3, and you will be left with this, all because you're racist. And when I talk about the modern day lynch mob, except replace racial prejudice with political prejudice, this is exactly what you see here. If you don't understand exactly what this man is trying to do with this tweet, what he's suggesting in this tweet, speaking of dog whistles, I broke it down in a response to him. Viva Frei at the Viva Frei. Just let me paraphrase this tweet. Quote, I won't tell you what to do, winky face. I won't identify this person, but his identification is out there, winky face. He thinks this is over, but it's not, winky face. I'm not saying to do anything, but you know what to do, lynch mob, winky face. And these people think they are the good guys. And then by way of separate tweet, I replied to Jeff Pearlman. Jeff Pearlman, is he related to Ron Perlman? Is that why they're both batshit crazy? But I reply as follows. Viva Frei at the Viva Frei. I'm not convinced there was anything racial about it. Just two people acting like children among a crowd of excited people. And if you were honest at Jeff Pearlman, you would show the other angle. But you're not. You are the self-appointed leader of this lynch mob. Enjoy wearing the hat. And here's a screen grab from a separate video, which we're going to watch in a second, of the alleged victim giving the crowd the finger. Because I am obsessive compulsive and absolutely want to understand what exactly went on in as much as we can ever understand it, I scoured the internet and found at least 2 other videos that show the incident from different angles or at different moments of that particular confrontation. Here are those videos, and it might shed just a little bit of light on what actually occurred.
Lizzo! 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 Fuck you, fat ass! Fuck you! And fuck you, bitch! Be quiet, be quiet, be quiet! $100! If you can $100! You're fucking real! Give me one! 100!
Now, I'm not going to make any assumptions. I'm just going to take for granted that if this protest was anything like any of the other protests we've seen across campuses across America, the pro-Palestinian protest is probably going to be chanting things like from the river to the sea, Palestine shall be free. They might be criticizing American colonialism, Israeli colonialism. They might be calling Israel an apartheid state if I'm just making reasonable guesses based on what we've seen in the past. So set aside all of that potential and probable tension among the crowd. What you have here is a woman who is seemingly a little overweight, getting heckled by the crowd. She's flipping the bird. All participants are participants in 2 sides of a very heated public debate. And if you want to see racism in there because someone was imitating an animal while making fun of the woman for being overweight, if you want to draw racist conclusions from that, if you think animal and then you immediately think person of color, you might be the racist. And if the kid was actually and sincerely making a racist joke or a racial joke, I wouldn't be defending it. There'd be nothing to defend. These are grown adults acting like idiots. But I'm not even convinced that's what's going on here. What you have here are participants in 2 sides of a heated protest, a heated debate, acting arguably but not so arguably like children. You don't have one saint on one side just walking around getting heckled and harassed by a crowd. You have 2 sides actively engaging with each other in crass, rude, and juvenile manners, but one is being depicted as a holier-than-thou saint who's done nothing wrong. She was just out there and an innocent victim, and the others are being depicted as boorish racists when what you might just very well have here are 2 sides both behaving like children. And I'm not really even saying this in a judgmental manner. I'm not judging them for this. This is what happens when you get people in camps confronting each other. People say things, people do things, people act like idiots, people swear, they behave crassly, they give the finger, they call names, they make fun of people. That's what happens. But it is not immediately all racism all the time, and you sure as hell don't go around doxing people, sicking mobs on them because you want to pretend that what they did was racist in the absence of definitive evidence that what the kid did was racially intended. And then you get these self-righteous New York Times best-selling a-holes out there who aren't sicking a mob on a kid while wink wink sicking a mob on a kid, who aren't threatening this kid while wink wink getting everyone they know to go mob this kid so that he has to take down his social media accounts, go into hiding. They want a Covington Catholic 2.0, even if it is not justified. It's not all racism all the time unless you're wearing perpetual racial blinders, ethnic identity blinders, where everything that happens to a black person is racist and everything done by a white person is racist. Ironically enough, coming from a side of a protest which have been saying some very questionable things that some people might call anti-Semitic. I'm not saying it. Let them say what they want. I will listen to it and I will move on with my day because I'm not a baby that is shocked by words. But these jackasses out there like Jeff Pearlman, they either haven't learned any lessons from Covington kids or they learned all the wrong lessons and they know they can do a ton of damage before the truth comes out and they can ruin a kid's life because they have that power, they have that mob, and they are exercising those tools in real time. All right, I have worked myself up into a tizzy yet again, and I want to go fishing yet again, so I'm going to go fishing. And if you like what I do, you know what to do. Like, share, subscribe, hit the notification bell, drop a comment in the comment section below. The Viva Frei on Twitter, vivabarneslaw.locals.com. But more important than anything, get out there, exercise, eat healthy, talk to people in real life, be honest, and don't be a jackass. Is it that hard? Peace.